Morning, gents. How is everyone today? Okay, so this is our start time. You can see the two routes right here. What I'm going to do overall first. So this is ECMWF, the AI version. This is GFS. You see they both think on our start day is going to be totally different weather. So that is why some of these routes are, especially when I zoom in here, you'll see it's very different than the other. But GFS thinks this high is going to be sitting here, and ECMF thinks that is going to be kind of a messed up high. The good thing about this messed up high is you're going to see here in a second, this gets pretty stable down through this route here, and it's not so stable for GFS in the future. So when we go forward here, we'll go to GFS because it's probably just easier to see. You're going to see that on the 3rd of July, that GFS now starts looking a little more like what ECMF. So this is where it starts getting where they're starting to look a little more alike with each other. This high definitely farther south than we really want, but for ECMF you can see it's very stable through here. And then the next part that's kind of interesting is when we get up to July 6, which is right here about midnight. There's this is on GFS. This little area down here is quite disturbed with very little wind. I mean, I think it gets down to right in here, like down to 4 knots. So if this is correct, we don't want to go nearly as far as GFS or ECMF. Of course, this is way far out, but you can see through ECMF that it's very, very stable through here. We got a good 14 knots of breeze. They don't show that anomaly that's down here, but that is something that we will keep our eye on in the future. I don't know, I mean, I can see the gap here. There's a huge gap between the isobars, so that's going to give us that little bit of anomaly right through here, because that's a big, huge gap. So the winds are going to die. When they're closer together like this, you get more wind. But you can see that GFS really kind of gets kooky. And then when we get to the actual, I'll take off the weather so you don't have to see that. What I'll show here is going to be our sensitivity, which is going to be the optimal routes here for sensitivity. Anything within the shaded area says you'll finish within 10 minutes of the planned route. As you can see, the sensitivity for this is for the GFS model is quite varied, especially through this area here where it doesn't know. Remember, that's where that whole anomaly was coming through right around the time we would be there, is through here. That's where you see our boats at right there. So you can kind of see that, sorry, I fell over a little bit on my video. You can see that this sensitivity is really crap. The other thing you can really see is going to be isochrones, and this has to do with where we should be at certain times. So reverse isochrones, what you want to see is a matchup of these. Let me get, that's the reverse ones, and let's show the rest of the regular ones. Okay. You want these to match up, and I'll show you what it looks like when they match up. So you don't want these ovals as on our area. So you don't want this here. This means that the planning software is like, this looks like the best route, but when you do it reverse-wise, it's not, because you wouldn't be on equals going. And I'll show you, so this is really means that it's super unstable. This is not the best. They really don't know what to do at this area over here. And you got to remember, this is basically where our weather stops, is kind of lying along here. The rest of it is kind of just is what they're going to estimate would happen, because I just tell the system to continue the weather pattern the way it is. But this shows a crappy spot here. The other one that we'll go to is, now we'll go to the ECMF one, and you'll see that that same thing looks very, very pretty. So what you want to see is a small sensitivity, right? This is right along our route. We can be anywhere along here and still be within 10 minutes of our finish. We also like where these match up. So these isochrones and reverse isochrones match up into little half moons together. And that means that this is a very optimal route. It's very stable, and we can have a lot of confidence in this. We would have no confidence right now in that GFS model. with our routing. So that what that means is we've really got to make a lot more decisions as sailors than using the program if it looks like it's going to be all crappy like it was. Okay, so let's go back to the start date because is getting closer, and we will see. I'll remove some of these isochrome thingamajiggies so you don't have to see that in the sensitivity. Let's see, drawing. There we go. Okay, so out of the start, two totally different things, and the reason why is because of the weather. So this is going to be the GFS model. Let me get to our current date, our start time, which is going to be right around here, plus 1 hour. There we go. So you can see that the GFS model, very light winds. And the reason why, again, they are forecasting a little more winds out here. Not quite as strong as yesterday, but as we get farther out, we're still in the 20s to gusting into the 30s. So they want us to go kind of, that's why we got that little bit of Catalina eddy, and they're going to want us to go up and around, where if you look at the ECMWF, it has it more stable through here and basically thinks we can make it just straight across. With some tacking, it looks like. So we probably end up over here and then just go up the coast again, just like what Stan Honey talks about in his video that everybody's watched many times. And then out here, you're looking at, in the teens, vice the 20s for the ECMWF. When will we pass Catalina? Well, if ECMWF is correct, we will pass Catalina on them. It will be at 6 p.m. on start date, and for the GFS it's going to be a little bit farther out. Maybe let's just say it's there. It's going to be basically 11 p.m. on the start day. We'll be passing north of Catalina and getting into more stable winds. So and then the results, because that's what everybody really wants to see, is going to be, so it's just these bottom two guys. Pretty close on time, 13 days, 5 hours and 13 days and 21 hours for GFS. Again, GFS very unstable. Any questions, please post them. I'll definitely get back to you guys. Hopefully that gave you a good overview. Let's hope we can get some more stability, specifically in the GFS model. We got some more models that will come up, but that won't be until about 5 days before the race. So we're looking at next week, middle of next week, we'll get new models. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.